You've got to be careful about what you wear. You know, you keep getting bombarded with, you need to wear this item or that item of clothing or this and that. And then we get so wrapped up in the external. And it's hard for us. But don't neglect the internal part of life. That's what Jesus is talking about. That's what he's talking about. That internal part of life, because it's important. We need to emphasize that part. Because it's a good way to prevent becoming disillusioned with a life that's all glitter and no substance. Glitter and no substance. Story of Madame Bovary. Emma Bovary, she's the daughter of a French farmer. And she married a physician. She had the opportunity of a very comfortable life until she visited the home of a very wealthy nobleman. And what she saw, she really liked. And she wanted to fit into that part of society. And of course, if you're going to do that, you have to look and you have to act the part. And so she began to invest into what she wore and how she acted and all the things she needed. And next thing you know, she's starting to borrow heavily. And the next thing, before she knows it, she finds that she borrows so much that finally she bankrupts her family. She bankrupts her entire family. And because she can't cope with that, she ends her life. Outward looking good, but inward bankrupt, empty. A lot of glitter, but no substance. And the world has a lot of glitter out there for us. But what about the substance of life? What's on the inside? We need to maintain that. We need to put effort and work into that because it's important. Because that's what gives true meaning to the real things of life. But without those lines, we need to also strengthen it because sometimes life is hard. And we need to be ready for those hard things of life. And we never know when they're going to come. Some days are like these last days of fall that we've had, or this past several weeks. You know, beautiful weather, sunshine, warm, it's great, and our lives are like that. But what about those days when the clouds start to roll in and the storms come along with them and those winds just want to tear us apart? Where do we find our strength? It's got to come from within. It's got to come from within. And we find a lot of things that are bringing storms to our lives at different times unexpectedly. Maybe it's the death of someone close to us, the loss of a job, a conflict in a relationship, a serious illness, whatever they are. Where do we get the resources to cope with those things? Traditions can help, but it's what's on the inside. That spiritual stuff we build on the inside that's going to make a difference and enable us to withstand those storms and to deal with life and life's crisis. You know, one thing I learned in growing up, in high school and college, played a lot of athletics. And one of the things I learned over those years was how important conditioning was. Although I hated it, you'd go through weeks and weeks of conditioning, and you just get so bored with it because you're waiting for competition. You want to get in there. You want to get in the game. You want to see it happen on the field. But you have all these weeks of conditioning and getting ready and start getting ready. And if you're in fall sport, it starts early in the summer. But you know what I found is the better condition I was in physically, in time for those competitions, the less likelihood there was of a serious injury. Well, if that works externally, it also works internally. As we prepare ourselves and condition ourselves spiritually within, we can better stand those tough contests of life that threaten to damage our lives. Because it'll give us strength. It'll give us strength. But along with these, we have to understand there's a third reason. Because preparing internally is a preparation for what God has yet in store for us. An eternity in His presence. I like what one grandmother said to her granddaughter one time. A little girl and her grandmother were talking, and the little girl said to her grandma, I said, Grandma, why do you read the Bible so much? And her grandma just turned to her and said, well, it's because I'm cramming for my finals. Isn't that a great answer? I love that. I'm cramming for my finals. I'm cramming for my finals. Because you see, the external part of life is going to pass away. It's what's on the inside. It's the internal that's going to last. That's what's going to last. Walt Emerson one time said, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. In some ways, saying what Jesus said a couple thousand years ago. It's what's inside us. You know, in your bulletin, you should have received a seed. Hope you did. If you didn't, we'd have more. But this week, as I was thinking about this internal, external, all this stuff, and how much energy we put into it, I was thinking about kernel of corn. And as I thought about that kernel of corn, isn't it amazing that you have this tiny little kernel right here? And look what you end up with. Do you ever stop to really consider that and think about that? This little thing right here is going to end up like this. And what happens when it does, you end up with so much more fruit. Go back to my old corn shucking days here. Pull that back a little. And just look at that. I mean, there are more seeds on here just from this one kernel than you can imagine. In fact, I'll tell you what I did is looking for hand this out, give everybody a little piece of corn. I needed an ear of corn, and so I counted the rows on the corn. I counted about 50 kernels in one row. And I estimated there's probably close to like 1,000 kernels on just one ear. Out of that little seed that I can hardly hold in my hand. Out of that. That's what we get. And you know what I began to think about? This is my life now. This is my life now. That's what's going to become. And it doesn't come from the externals. It's just like the seed. All of that comes from what's inside of the seed. Inside of it. What about life? This is our life. That's our life to be. We put so much effort into this part of life in the externals. Doesn't it make sense if that's where we're going? We should put just as much, if not more, effort to the inside, to the internal, to the spiritual. Maybe Grandma wasn't so far off. Maybe we should be cramming for our finals. Maybe we should be. Because that's a tremendous thought. All the potential in that seed. And it's like our life. This is where we are. That's where we're going. What's on the inside to make it happen? I love the little boy whose family was meeting one time together for a holiday, and they just thought they'd share some of their favorite scripture verses. And this little boy, he chose John 3:16, the one most of us are familiar with. He quoted it and he said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life." Eternal life. How's your internal life? How's your internal life? We put so much into the external. What do we put on the inside? I want you to keep this seed. Put it in your pocket. Put it on a shelf. And once in a while, take a look at it. And when you do, just pause for a few minutes. Try and think during the time of that day and the course of that day where you saw God. Where did you encounter God in that day or that week? And remember, he's working on the inside. He's working on the inside. It really matters. It really matters. And it matters more than sometimes we can ever imagine. Let's pray.